everyone, and welcome to Chicago. I cannot express enough how happy I am to not only be in this awesome city, but to be able to be here with you today to talk about Product Catalog. It is something I am very passionate about. It is something I believe wholeheartedly provides value to every single person in this room, every company in this room. So let's get started with a little overview, if you will. So what is a product catalog? Quite simply put, it is an electronic record of potential products that an airline or a third-party provider might offer. It enables kind of three key things. It has a lot of functionality, but I'm going to highlight three things that are enabled by the product catalog. First and foremost, it allows you to separate product from price. So you no longer have to predefine every permutation of product and price like you do today with fares and rules. You'll be able to simply define your product within your catalog structure. Then you're able to dynamically apply price at time of shopping. And you can dynamically do this through traditional methods that you have today, or you can do this with new science-based processes moving forward. And then the third kind of key thing that the product catalog enables is that it moves settlement data up front to the time of offer creation. And this will enable better pricing across interline itineraries, and it will ultimately enable that real-time cascading of NDC messages in that end state of offers and orders. Three key things that we've enabled. All right, so Alex talked about this a little bit this morning. The product catalog is not just about the end state future. It provides value now. It can provide value today to every airline in this room, regardless of where you are on your journey. That is because we recognize that the industry is going to have to live in two worlds for quite a period of time. The industry is going to live in the traditional world and the end state offers and order world for quite a period of time. And that means we need new data structures to give us seamless interoperability between those worlds. And the product catalog can provide that bridge. It provides that seamless interoperability between your traditional worlds and your dynamic worlds. It will benefit all airlines. If you're an airline today who is quite advanced on the road to offers and orders, you probably still need to connect with interline partners who aren't as advanced. Maybe they haven't started their journey yet, and the catalog can provide you with that interoperability. If you are an airline that hasn't started on your journey to dynamic offers, that's fine. The catalog can help you because it can help you connect to partners who may have moved at a different point on the journey than you are. So it provides that interoperable bridge, and it benefits all airlines. So we know that the industry is going to need to live in both worlds, but the challenge today is that we have a data disconnect. So we do not have seamless data that connects the traditional and the new world. We need that seamless interoperability between the traditional and the new. This disconnect causes a lot of challenges for us. Three key challenges are, first of all, it causes airlines to have to maintain data twice. They need to maintain a set of traditional data, and they need to maintain a set of dynamic data. So it is dual maintenance, which is inefficient, it's costly, and it's not a good way to move forward. I think it was Nikki this morning who said, very, very rightly called out that there's a challenge now for consumers who are faced with seeing airline products in a dynamic format and a traditional format, and they don't line up. And that's because airlines have to do dual maintenance. They don't have the ability to line them up. They're doing maintenance for two worlds. There's also challenges with connections. So airlines are having to build one-off bilateral connections with every partner or every system so that they can connect their traditional and their dynamic worlds. Obviously, that gets worse if an airline has multiple interline partners it needs to connect with. It needs to build multiple connections. Its interline partners may use different vendors. It has its own challenges internally where it may have multiple third-party vendors within its own processes that it needs to build connections to. So obviously, that's a challenge with the data disconnect. And ultimately, it leads to less optimal offers. So they're less customized for the passenger. So what do? We've said that we are going to live in both worlds for a period of time. We know there's a data disconnect, And our proposal from ATPCO is that we need a unified approach. We need to work together collaboratively to create a standardized but flexible data exchange solution that will allow us to flow data seamlessly between the traditional and the end-state worlds. We need to be able to flow our data seamlessly, ensure no disruption, ensure that the data is able to work across all parties, all technology providers, and all airlines. And ATPCO can facilitate this with a standardized, flexible data exchange solution, which we're building for the product catalog to make it available for all of us to use. That gives us economy of scale efficiencies because we'll build the data, you don't have to build it, we build it once and it serves everyone. It serves ATPCO's pro-competitive mission where we are already a neutral provider for data. That's been our foundation from day one. Tom talked about it a little bit earlier. From day one, we've been providing data for the industry as a data exchange solution provider, and this meets our mission. We already provide the standard data that's needed for traditional offers, and we're just going to open the door and now provide product catalog data so that our data exchange solution will include product catalog data, and you'll be able to connect both of your worlds interoperably, and then ultimately allowing each airline to move at its own pace. So you can adopt dynamic offers, you can move forward to that end state at your own pace. All right, so did you know, and actually I hope you all know because we have talked about this for a bit, but if you didn't know, every airline in ATPCO, all 450 plus airlines, already have the basics for a product catalog. You've already got the basic foundational work done. And what ATPCO is doing is we are taking your traditional data and we are converting it into catalog formats so that you have a base starting product catalog. We're able to do that for everyone. That is going into production this quarter, and every airline will be able to have a basic starting point for the product catalog. And better yet, we are maintaining an interoperable link. That means we are taking your traditional data, putting it into a catalog format, but maintaining a cross-reference link so that we know exactly where the data came from. We can keep it in sync. If you change the traditional data, we can make sure that the catalog data remains in sync. And that enables us to translate very easily between the dynamic world and the traditional world. So this will allow every airline the benefit of a product catalog, and you can move forward with adoption at your own pace. So for airlines that are already using dynamic offers, and there's quite a few today that have already moved forward with dynamic offers, the product catalog solution will benefit you because we know that you still need to connect with your interline partners. We know that it can help you at offer creation time because it can allow you to not only augment base data, but you can augment it with non-traditional data. So you can start blending your traditional data and your non-traditional data as you move forward. And then ultimately, you'll have more customized offers that you're presenting. For airlines that have not started using dynamic offers, it still can benefit you. We can give you a baseline catalog structure, and then you can start viewing your data in a product format. This will help you jumpstart your strategy. It might help you better align your brands. It might give you a good analytical tool when you compare your data across a partner's data. And ultimately, it will help you with interline connections because you might need to connect with an airline that's a little more advanced. So again, it supports all airlines, regardless of where you are in your journey. All right. With that, I'm really, really excited to let you know that we have another guest coming to the stage. So I'm very, very happy to introduce Chris Allison. Chris is the product director for offers and orders at PROS. Now, PROS is already an industry leader in the product catalog space. And ATPCO is really happy to announce that we are collaborating with PROS on a product catalog data exchange solution, POC, that will help accelerate airlines' journey to offers and orders. So please help me welcome Chris to the stage. Okay, we're going to have a little chat here. Chris, welcome. Thank you for joining us. I think we're going to maybe open this up and kick this off with asking you to tell us a little bit about what PROS is doing with the product catalog.
Yeah, no worries. So PROS is known widely as the leader in offer optimization, given our background in revenue management. We have our shopping engines, reshopping, merchandising. Thanks to the acquisition of Everymundo in 21, we have a leading position in the offer marketing space. But what you may or may not know is that maybe around half our business comes from what we call B2B, which is basically outside of the airspace. And we have over 100 customers using our configure price quote solutions, which is underpinned by a product catalog. And those products are from a wide variety of industries. It can be anything from consumer goods, it can be food wholesalers, enterprise technology vendors, even helicopter manufacturers. The products being like highly transactional in some cases and highly configurable. We already have a product catalog in production for those customers. So what we're doing now is, or what we have been doing is applying our airline use cases on top of that to bring that product catalog functionality and all of it, using all of our experience there into the airspace. And in designing and architecting our offer order platform with that experience, we knew how fundamental a product catalog solution was to creating the best offers we can for our customers. So we made sure that sits both architecturally and from a deployment perspective, independent from the offer management system and the order management system in what we call the portfolio management system, alongside our StockKeeper and supply automation module. Supply automation being a way of scaling third-party relationships. Ultimately, the offers that we can generate are only as good as the products they contain, and they're only good if consumers and travelers can understand what they're buying. And our product catalog supports that for our airlines. And actually, so given that's our position, can you clarify ATPCO's role in this as well?
Sure. So with ATPCO's role with the product catalog, I think there's kind of two key roles that we play. First is a role in data exchange. So we know that ATPCO has a long-term role to play in the supplier catalog data exchange to support CIRSIA. We know that we have a long-term role to play in the airline profile solution to support sellers and aggregators. That is a kind of foundational role that we play today, and we see that long-term into the future. However, let's talk a little bit about data exchange. I bet almost everyone in this room either has a product catalog, you're building a product catalog, or you're thinking about building a product catalog. And you're all going to add your own features and your own innovation, which is awesome. Like, that's what we want you to do. We want you to have your product catalog that is innovative and has everything that you want in it. But each of those catalogs cannot work in a vacuum. You still need to exchange data with your partners. You still need to exchange data to support modularity. And that's where ATPCO's role is in providing a kind of standard but flexible data exchange solution for catalog data that you can then use to exchange data directly with your partners, or you can leverage our existing network where we are connected to all airlines and systems today, so you can leverage that and have an immediate connection. So that's our first role. I would say our second role is really supporting the transition and the interoperability. We know the end state is that filed fares are no longer relevant. We agree with this, and we are invested in making that a reality. However, where we see a gap is that there is no transition path. There's no clear path for airlines to get from where they are today to where they want to be in the future. So, for example, how does an airline reinvent all of its internal systems and get to that end state, yet make sure that they're not putting their own revenue at risk? How does an airline see incremental value along the way to that end state? How does an airline progress at a different pace than its partner, yet remain interoperable and maintain those interline connections? How does an airline ensure that they have the right retailing content to display at each stage of the progression? And this is where we see ATPCO as having a unique role where we can help accelerate the industry, yet maintain interoperable connections for as long as an airline needs it. So thank you for that, Chris. So speaking of the the transition from traditional to dynamic. I know we both have airline customers that are at different stages of the transition. So some might be further along, some might not have started yet. So how do you think a product catalog can provide value now, regardless of where an airline is in its progression? How can it enable an airline's progression?
Yeah, that's it. And I think it's quite well understood now that a big bang approach and a one-off transition is challenging and probably isn't the way forward for most. And yeah, we talk to customers all the time about how there is the potential for extracting value along the journey and with each step. Airlines are already, in some cases, extracting value by having dynamicity in their pricing, and they're also laying good foundations in terms of bringing in NDC and NDC adoption growing apace. But then that next step can be using the product catalog. And there's a few different use cases that they can look at there. I mean, we've already talked about ingesting the traditional flight data, so not having to do double work there, and being able to then potentially move on from that and start to augment that data and make it richer. There's also the ability to potentially improve the efficiency of managing bundles. So that's something that can come as an initial use case for product catalog. And then beyond that, we're looking at even something we're doing some POCs with some of our customers today is looking at bringing third-party products into the catalog, because that's something incremental for the airline today, something that's difficult to do in today's ecosystem, and something we already have experience of thanks to what we've done elsewhere. So with that in mind, obviously there's some of the use cases, especially that last one is something we're actively working on with some of our customers. Can you tell us what use cases ATPCO is working on?
Sure. So we're working on several use cases at ATPCO today with various airlines and systems. And I kind of boil them down into two types of use cases. First, we have use cases that are working on what I think of as data setup, or getting your data ready to be used. So there we have kind of three pieces. We are converting the traditional data into catalog data so that everyone has a base set of catalog data. Then we are working to enable airlines to augment their base data with non-traditional data, which kind of aligns with what you were talking about, Chris. So airlines can either use a new API where they can send data directly to ATPCO from their own product management tool and augment that base traditional with non-traditional, or that we're building a new user interface where airlines can directly come into ATPCO and augment the data. And then lastly, we have the data exchange solution where we actually can distribute the data or provide a format for airlines to distribute their data to partners. And then I would say the second part of use cases, once you've got that data ready, the second part of the use cases we're working on are making it a reality. So making it really work in production. And there we're starting with the offer creation system, as offer creation process, and looking to insert the catalog into the offer creation process to better drive more customized offers, to better drive more targeted offers, still maintaining interoperability for as long as you need it. And then, of course, looking at solutions where we can bundle non-traditional content with dynamic content and link it to route happy content so that you still have the merchandising capabilities you need to show the customer what they're actually getting, which kind of makes me thinking about the non-traditional content and what you said earlier about third-party content. So PROS already has a very advanced product catalog that can handle third-party content in addition to the traditional air-related content that we have today. So can you tell us a little bit more about that and how a catalog like you have could help airlines accelerate that inclusion of third-party content into their offers?
Yeah, for sure. And actually, this is something that we already do for our diverse range of customers with their diverse range of products. So not only do they support all those different types of products themselves, they also have to source products from others, and they also have to source parts to build their products from others as well, depending on the nature of the product. So that's something we already support in production for our customers today on the B2B side. As the range, so for our airline customers and moving to product catalog of the future to support the offer and order world, as the range of products gets wider and more sophisticated, users and analysts are going to need help to do that. And actually, we already, again, with the customers we already have, we use AI to support a lot of the data translation and mapping, removing a lot of the burden that was there in terms of that kind of resource-intensive process that was there before. Obviously, we'll be bringing that into the Air catalog as well. So from that perspective, we're able to support third-party products from that. I mean, and obviously that would, like when we think third-party products, we often think about kind of additional ancillaries and maybe non-traditional ancillaries, but this also is going to move on to interline as well. So being able to support interline content in the retailer supplier model as we move towards that, that's getting kind of those initial confidence in the catalog with those third-party ancillary products, and then expanding to the interline case. So from that perspective, let's talk maybe more about that and the need for airlines to exchange data between their JV partners and their interline partners, especially given there are different stages of their dynamic offer capabilities. So how is ATPCO positioned to facilitate that?
Okay, so when it comes to interline, we actually are working on something really fun. And Tom mentioned this earlier, and that is including settlement data up front in the catalog. So integrating settlement data into the product catalog. So that will aid airlines in dynamic pricing across interline itineraries. So airlines won't have to wait until that end state when we have that real-time cascading between interline partners. They'll be able to use it up front now and see that incremental value now. So that's one of the kind of key things we're working on with interline. And then, of course, we are also working on interoperability. So we're working on translation solutions where we can help airlines at differing stages of their journey, and we can translate dynamic content into traditional content, or we can do that vice versa, translate traditional into dynamic content. So, for example, an airline that is well advanced into offers and orders, we could take their order data and translate it into ticket or P&R data so that we can maintain that interoperability. And then last, of course, is the data exchange solution that I already mentioned, enabling airlines to share data with their partners. So, that's coming from ATPCO. I mean, maybe it's better to hear from pros on this since we are working on a data exchange solution. And maybe you could tell us where you see the value of ATPCO providing interline data exchange.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we want to focus very much on providing the best product catalog solution that we can. We want to focus on the functionality, on the user experience for analysts. We want to bring in AI and AI agents to help with the maintenance there, be it for pulling out bundle recommendations based on usage and attachment data and sales data, generating descriptions for products, helping users navigate what's only going to become a more complex environment of products as the sophistication increases and as we get more products from different suppliers in there. And being able to create bundles and combinations of those products that analysts maybe aren't as familiar with because they're not the traditional products that they've been used to until now. So we really want to focus on those things that are driving the catalog solution itself and providing the commercial value and success for airlines and providing value for the airline's customers. What we don't really want to have to concentrate as much resource on is the plumbing aspects. So maintaining connections to hundreds of airlines, especially for traditional data, but also even in the modern airline retailing world. Being able to, given the fact that not only have we got to reach out to other airlines and pull their data into our catalog, we've got to expose that data to airlines, other airlines as well. As if we've got a customer, they will also be a supplier to other retailing airlines. We've also got to maintain all of those third-party connections as well to the other third-party suppliers of products. We've also got to maintain feeds to the distribution partners of the airline from an airline profile perspective, exposing product data in that regard as well. That's a lot of plumbing, a lot of maintenance, a lot of connectivity. We want to focus on the core of the catalog rather than that. And that's where ATPCO can provide a lot of value, not just in the transition, which absolutely there's a big role for ATPCO to play there and to help us and the industry, but also even with the modern airline retailing data and often order-based data in the future. And so ultimately, providing a basis for that interoperability and ensuring that as pros and as the industry, we can deliver product catalogs as part of a modular ecosystem. Yeah, that's a huge value for us and the industry.
Thank you, Chris. It sounds like we both agree that a data exchange solution is a good way forward. It will enable airlines to exchange their variety of products and approaches that they have in place or will have in place. I think we both see that we need a clear transition path and that interoperability and modularity are good accelerators to help us move forward along that path. Just speaking for ATPCO, we've been saying that 2024 was the year of proving the concept and proving the structure. 2025 for us is the year of making it happen, making that product catalog a reality. So we want to thank Chris. Personally, I want to thank Pros for working with us to make that happen. We're very excited for this POC that we've kicked off, and we will obviously be providing more information to all of you as that moves forward. So thank you for joining us for that, Chris. We really appreciate that.
Man, thank you.
And oh gosh, you guys thought I was done. No, I just want to thank you, though. I'm almost done, I promise. I do want to thank all of you. So thank you for being here. And I do hope that this was helpful, if that this gave you an understanding or a better idea of ATPCO's role in the product catalog distribution. I hope that if it resonated with any of you, if any of you are looking to start implementing a product catalog, please come talk to me. We're happy to work with you. We do have some really great sessions coming up over the next few days. We have some breakout sessions and some workshops on product catalogs, so I'd encourage you all to attend. There is one this afternoon on interoperability, and it's going to go into the solution we're doing to integrate settlement into the catalog. There is one tomorrow on really kind of moving the product catalog forward, and that one is I'll give you the name. That one is called Offer Creation Transformed, Interoperability with the Product Catalog, where we will go through in a little more depth all of the use cases that we're working on for catalog. And then there's a workshop on Thursday where we're going to talk about how we are transforming branded fares data into catalog formats to help move that along. So if you want to know more, I'd encourage you to attend those workshops. But with that, I am finished. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, all of you. And I think it's time for lunch. So thank you.